U.S. taxpayers bailed him out, but that didn't stop executives at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to collect millions of dollars each year in bonuses. And yesterday on Capitol Hill, they were grilled about all that moolah.
Did you ever have an expectation that you were going to make not just seven figures, but several of them, that you'd make 8 or 9 million every 2 years?
Congressman, I think we all hope to aspire to advance in our careers and advance our compensation as we do.
Okay, but you made 9.3 million in the last 2 years. Well, the president made $800,000. You think that's okay?
Congressman Darrell Issa asks those tough questions. He is the chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. He joins us from our nation's capital. Well, you know what? I don't know about you, but I saw some tap dancing worthy of Dancing with the Stars yesterday on Capitol Hill.
Well, there really was a lot of tap dancing because ultimately they're justifying that these two organizations, backed completely by your dollars, almost $200 billion now of your money tied up, and the rest of trillions of dollars underwritten and guaranteed, that somehow they're the same as a private fund or a bank. And, of course, their losses of tens of millions of dollars, not just this year, but for many years to come, is somehow the equivalent of a for-profit entity where bonuses come with success.
Right, exactly. And they've been really good so far at losing billions of our dollars. Now they need what they need $6 billion more to continue operations, but they need something like 10 million more just for big CEO and executive compensation bonuses. And there are people, Congressman, who are absolutely furious that while they lose money, they need more money.
Well, you're exactly right, Steve. And the $35 or so million paid in bonuses to the top few executives, although small relative to the enterprises, send the wrong message. The message that business as usual, including career professionals, many of these people have been there their whole career and got us into this trouble, that somehow business as usual is you get these big bonuses in spite of huge losses and no real end in sight.
Right, exactly. Well, now here's the problem, and here's the conundrum for trying to figure out pay scales at Fannie and Freddie. Fannie and Freddie is a quasi-government private entity. You know, the government backs it up, and yet they sell stock and stuff like that. And so they say, look, if we're going to compete with Wall Street, we got to have Wall Street-size bonuses, which they've gotten away with.
Well, Steve, until recently, I sat on the board of the public company that I founded. And on the compensation committee, we went through pages and pages with specificity of what our CEO and CFO and general counsel would have to achieve in order to earn bonuses that were not that generous. Our biggest problem is we asked for and received the most vague 2 pages of how they achieved their bonuses. And what we discovered was it was discretionary board, a board that is basically picked for them. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. If they hit documented milestones and they were reasonable, we wouldn't have had the hearing so contentious. But very clearly, this is just business as usual. They're going to get these bonuses regardless of losses. And we had another problem, which was as you went down, you saw things like the chief consuls at these two firms making almost $3 million apiece.
Sure.
Well, studies showed that for about $400,000 apiece, you could have gotten that skill set.
Right, but the CEOs yesterday said, look, we got $5 trillion worth of assets, mortgage assets. We need qualified people to go ahead and manage that so we don't lose our shirt for Uncle Sam.
Well, this is like the Menendez brothers complaining about being orphans and saying you've got to work with them. Very clearly, this is a mess they made. Yes, there are a lot of dollars, but they're not heading in the right direction. And more importantly, many of these assets, over 250,000 homes that should be liquidated off their books. Bloomberg had a scathing article that basically they're sitting on them and only 10,000 of them are rented. So vacant homes all over America are part of what they're mismanaging. Well, they're claiming that they've earned these bonuses. And other committees have more jurisdiction to look at the mismanagement of the various programs.
Sure.
We were looking at whether or not there was a necessity to have this pay and whether or not these bonuses were documented, and they weren't.
Well, your outrage yesterday, Congressman, was well placed. A lot of people are furious at all the dough they're getting. We thank you very much for joining us today from our
Thanks,
D.C.
Steve.
Bureau. Thank you, sir.